Now, a splash pad isn't going to do much for our median age, which is 55 to 60-year-old. However, it could benefit them if they want to bring their grandchildren or visitors up here. It does benefit our businesses with increased foot traffic and will attract new businesses. It's not rocket science. It costs $5 million to run this town, and our businesses bring in half of that amount. So let's take a look at the review of surrounding retail centers. I did some research and I asked various people like Owens Harkey, who is our current marketing firm, what do you think about a splash pad? Do you think it's going to increase visitors or
Mayor, why don't
businesses?
we're having Urban Land do a study. I don't know, this is the,
Well, this is kind of at least getting on point as far as the splash. Maybe it's part of the conversation.
Hey, I like this, it's interesting.
Just my humble opinion, you know, I'm Mr. Focus, and this is sort of like, okay, let's at least talk about this.
We took all the time and effort to put this together on our own, let her put it out there,
But that's not the reason.
instead of everybody being ignorant.
fact is, Miller, it's not on the agenda.
Yeah,
Well,
okay,
splash pad is.
okay, Mike.
And now we're,
Yeah.
now we're there.
Right.
Okay, we've got a few
Okay,
minutes.
Ferrara.
Let's go
We'll be
continue on
nice.
with the splash.
Okay, when I talked to
Told you we were
Matt,
passionate.
Matt Owens, he says, I think the splash pad is a very good additional amenity. The more fun activities Carefree can provide to its visitors, the better. I understand that some of the local residents have a hard time seeing the value, but we need to remember that a splash pad is not targeted to them. It will provide a broadening effect to our shoulder season and should also add to the attractiveness of the town center in the heat of the summer as well. There's a very good reason that many retail and civic centers are putting in splash pads. They attract people and lengthen the time they stay in the area. This proposed enhancement to the town gets a big thumbs up from Owens Harkey. I asked Desert Ridge Marketplace, and I talked to Ryan Desmond, who is the head of their Best Star leasing in the state. He said, yes, I definitely feel it has brought more visitors to the marketplace. There are a number of days when we will see moms with kids or families on the weekend who are there, and they're eating lunch at one of the restaurants or getting coffee at Starbucks, and they're sitting out under the umbrellas and they're enjoying that while their kids play in the splash pad. And they do some shopping before or after that, or they see a movie. So it's absolutely had an impact on the Desert Ridge Marketplace. I asked about tenants, and he says, has it attracted more tenants? I would say indirectly. I would say the national tenants probably don't look at a site plan and say, you have a splash pad, I'm more interested. But part of the process when you're attracting tenants is touring the project and then getting a feel for the real estate and its activity level. And I have no doubt that the increased activity level that the splash pad has brought has influenced those tenants in their decision making. I mean, it's nothing but positive when you tour the site and see lots and lots of people enjoying themselves within the district. Scottsdale Quarter, Allison Goodman is their marketing manager, and she said, the splash pad is a great draw, especially during the summer months. I think that it's a huge testament to how successful it is. Kierland Commons, Sherry Dukovich is the assistant vice president from Mesa Ridge. And her comments were, we know that those customers will typically extend the length of their visit with an amenity such as a splash pad or a play area. This can translate into goodwill and loyalty and many times additional sales. Devon Huffman is their marketing manager at Kierland. He said, the Center Plaza Fountain is a huge draw for Kierland Commons, especially during the summer months. We benefit immensely from the amenity. This is taking a look at the town of Fountain Hills. And you'll notice that it has vertical water features. It isn't just a plain splash pad. I chaired a committee that looked at the splash pad, where it should be positioned, how big, and what kind of water features they would select if given the choice.
What was the conclusion of that committee?
The conclusion, it wasn't a vote, but the conclusion was that they liked the vertical water features. They thought it would be different from other water splash pads in the area.
I disagree. I was on that committee. I remember our last meeting we had. I don't think people are, myself personally, I'm not opposed to a splash pad if we're not allocated for the splash pad. And the way it was left at the last committee meeting, Les Peterson was part of that. I'm happy to see him in the audience. I'm happy to allow Les to speak to that. Was that it ranked least in the town survey in terms of priority of capital projects. And as long as we could get donations and grants to fund it, everyone on the committee said, great, build what you want. But if any part of those dollars are coming from town resources, let's scale down the scope of the splash pad. Why don't we just build a splash pad like we see at Scotts Hill Quarter and Kierland and Desert Ridge? And I spoke with the general manager of Desert Ridge. She said, Mike, it has no economic impact to our merchants. We like the activity though. What we find is that most parents will bring a sack lunch and their kids. I'm in favor of creating synergy in the center. My concern, and I'll reiterate it again, is the amount. How is it funded and the amount of that funding is what I'm concerned about.
You know, I was on the committee, and I don't remember any of that stuff. Mike likes to put in words. But, you know, especially the sack lunches. I'll give you a good example. Last summer when my grandkids were here, the wife wanted to do something a little different with them. Now, we've got a pole in the spa, and they love it here in the water from the time they got up to the time they went to bed. But they wanted to do something a little different. So they went to something like a splash pad in Scottsdale off of Thompson Peak. And they spent all day there. And they went one day every week. The grandkids had a ball. And they spent all day there. Where'd they spend their money? In Scottsdale, not Carefree. And they didn't bring sack lunches. They bought lunches there.
But you are totally missing my point. Again.
Your point is,
I'm talking
what you
about
said on
a
the committee,
splash
I am
pad.
on that committee, I was there, Mike.
There
was no
Peterson,
fault,
could you please?
know?
There wasn't a vote, that's my
Putting
point.
words in people's
Guys,
mouths, and I
You
don't.
don't know what you're talking about.
I clearly know, I'm a dummy, just a fireman.
Gentlemen,
Yeah, okay, Mike.
You were at the one committee meeting that we had where everyone talked about putting in various vertical water features. This is not something we're deciding today. We're just using a big budget number. So let's don't get into the minutia here.
this
So,
is
this is-
something I think everybody needs to keep in point. The purpose today is not to design a splash pad. It's basically to say this is a concept that we're going to take out and ask for donations. We're going to have
Mayor, and that's what I'm hoping for, but I see a picture of Fountain Hill splash pad.
I
And
want
I look at
everyone
the
to have
funding.
information.
Mike, the answer is what you said before. You believe me, we're not going to spend tax dollars this year on this, and you're happy. So be happy. Don't worry, be happy. We're not going to spend the tax money this year, we're trying to go out and get donations. Relax.
We don't have a swimming pool in town, neither do we. And the splash pad is heavily used by families, birthday parties, utilizing the playground and the splash pad, especially during the summer months. I asked him specifically, have you had problems with your vertical water features? And he said no. A splash pad is the way to go, much better than dealing with swimming pools. I would recommend that we do another one in another part of town, meaning Fountain Hills. So this is the market data that Gary was alluding to. 20,000 households in the area, median age of, within the 5-mile radius, median age of 48. And if you look specifically at Desert Mountain and Mirabelle, we've got a median age of 30.8, over 5,000 households, over 800 with households with children. Legend Trail, Belisara, Whisper Rock, Winfield, Terravita, all around us, the median age is 32. Households are over 4,800. Households with children, over 1,200. And then you look at Tatum Ranch, Cave Creek, the median age is 32, over 11,000 households, and over 3,700 with children. So this is the reasoning behind recommending a splash pad. It's going to benefit the businesses, but it also benefits the citizens in helping to pay for our operating costs. Rather than dipping into reserves in the future, let's build up our business base. I don't want a property tax. I think it opens the door. So from a council view, I think we need to recognize that we have rising customer and visitor expectations. And Les Peterson mentioned in a candidate forum that the council can't claim a success in one area, meaning just in the citizen area. We also have to claim success with our businesses also. We are mutually dependent. At a long-term health of the town, I think from a business perspective, this is a smart thing to do, and it positions Carefree for the future. Bottom line, we need to educate the citizens on why this is even a recommendation. And that's a look at the splash pad.
No.
And this is another overall view.
Of one of the possible many conceivable things that might someday be considered if somebody decided to go ahead with it, comma.
That's true.
All right.
So here's a look, and I gave each of you a revised budget estimate. Looking at a splash pad with just 8 nozzles, a plain version, if you will, the vanilla, from 155 to 211. Splash pad with, or the water features alone, would be 78 to 111. So we're looking at an estimated total budget cost, including tax and a contingency, between $233 and $322K. And as the mayor mentioned, or whoever, the goal is to hopefully find partnership that will partner with us on this project.